everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a man suspected of murdering a man in Bangor makes his first court appearance. Plus, we'll hear about a special program that's helping Maine deal with a shortage of teachers around the state. And we'll also take you up to Mapleton to see how Fox family potato chips are made. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. Emma Smith will join us in just a few moments. We're going to kick things off with really the big story of the day. It's expected to be just a couple of inches here in Bangor, but the storm is enough to challenge local drivers this morning. Very slippery driving conditions out there, so you'll want to take it easy. Southern and western areas of the state, including the big ski areas like Sugarloaf, are expected to receive even higher snow totals. This is a live picture from Sugarloaf at this hour, where the snow continues to come down. They certainly welcome the snow, but it can be a problem for everyone trying to make it to work or school today. In fact, the Maine legislature is delaying its opening until 10 o'clock this morning to give the road crews time to treat the roads and parking lots in the area. A number of schools are also remaining closed today, including the Brewer and Hamden school departments. Others are delaying their openings because of the storm. The big concern really comes as we head through the day into Wednesday. A potent storm is expected to bring very strong winds and rain to the state, along with temperatures reaching into the 50s. That could lead to flash flooding in some areas, along with down power lines. So people are expected to prepare for that over the day ahead. It looks like tomorrow could be very messy. Some folks could lose their power. Folks along the coast especially are paying attention to this approaching storm. Another guy paying attention to it is our meteorologist, Devin Biggs. He joins us now with the very latest.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. We have a lot of advisories posted ahead of our next system that will be moving in. We have winter weather advisories that will last until about 1 p.m. this afternoon. We also have high wind watches up until 7 a.m. Thursday. Strong gusty winds will be on the way. And that right there is a storm watch that is posted along the coast. We've had some snow passing through. It gave us around 2 to 5 inches overall. We're going to catch a little bit of a break, although we might still get a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow today. That chance rather small nonetheless, but more active weather will be on the way coming from the south and west very soon and tracking to the north and east with a lot of rainfall that will be on the way very soon. But for today, just a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. More rain will be on the way later on tonight, but really getting going as we head towards your Wednesday. Now, gusty winds, not a big deal today or tonight. It's by tomorrow where the winds will begin to pick up just a little bit more. So for today, we have mid-30s, a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, and that northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have low 30s. A wintry mix will be switching over to rain, especially late. Rising temperatures overnight, so this low will be hit early. Temperatures warming overnight and a light and variable wind. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing temperatures making it into the lower 30s. Again, a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you later on. A man charged with murder in connection with the death in Bangor earlier this month faced a judge virtually Monday for his initial court appearance. 69-year-old Gary Brinson of Bangor was arrested on December 6th after police were called to 288 Union Street 2 days earlier. When they arrived, they discovered the body of 64-year-old Lee Riona in one of the apartments. The medical examiner's office ruled the manner of death was a homicide.
Mr. Brinson, you understand that I have before me a complaint charging you with the crime of intentional or knowing murder? Have you been over that offense with Mr. Blah?
Yes.
Has he explained to you these potential punishments associated with the offense?
Yes.
Because Brinson is charged with a felony, he did not enter a plea yesterday. He's now being held at the Penobscot County Jail.
Maine State Police have identified the victim of what they now say is a homicide stemming from the discovery of a body in Edgecombe last week. Police say on the morning of December 3rd, the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call from a hunter who discovered a deceased adult male near the Schmidland Preserve on Old County Road in Edgecombe. They say an autopsy revealed the manner of death to be a homicide and the cause was a gunshot wound. Police have identified the victim as 34-year-old William Nathaniel Robinson of Austinville, Virginia. Robinson had been recently staying at a home in Edgecombe. Maine State Police are still investigating, but they say there is no known danger to the public at this time.
Well, Maine State Police are investigating a crash that happened on I-95 in Bangor yesterday morning. State Police say it happened just before 7 o'clock when 25-year-old Kenneth Cartledge of Beverly, Massachusetts, lost control of his pickup truck. He crossed the center median and then flipped over in the northbound lane. Officials say when the vehicle overturned, Cartledge was thrown from the truck and was left lying in the roadway. According to Moss, he sustained serious injuries. Officials say the vehicle ended up on its side, blocking both lanes of travel, which caused traffic to back up. They say the initial findings indicate Cartledge was driving too fast for the slippery road conditions.
Maine, like the rest of the country, is facing a significant shortage of teachers. A partnership between a nonprofit and the Maine Department of Education is looking to help solve that problem. Our Augusta reporter, Corey Bichard, has the story.
Not enough people are going into the profession. We know that. And so how can we change that trajectory?
Dolly Sullivan is a program director for Educate Maine, a nonprofit that partnered with the Maine Department of Education to launch the Teach Maine Center, a program with the goal of attracting and retaining Maine's teacher workforce. In October of 2023, they started their work and recently announced their final report.
If you're going to find out how to grow, strengthen, and diversify Maine's educated workforce, then you talk to the teachers, those who are in the classrooms.
Sullivan says they held forums with around 250 teachers from all 16 Maine counties to better understand their challenges and what changes might be needed to help with reducing teacher burnout and attracting more teachers to the profession.
It really was most universal agreement that we need to have more ways to enter into the profession.
Some other recommendations included reforming the teacher certification process, improving professional development opportunities, and investing in childcare, health, and mental health resources for teachers. Sullivan adds they've also seen a rise in parents and lawmakers putting political viewpoints ahead of improving education and teacher satisfaction.
A couple of years ago, during the pandemic, teachers were treated as heroes. And then something happened, and there was this very strong effort to undermine public education in our state. And I think it caught some of us quite by surprise.
To read the full report, you can visit our website. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, downtown streets across Maine this time of year, folks are bound to see some beautiful lights and color decorations. And it's also signs reminding you if you don't move your car during a snowstorm, then it won't be there come sunrise. While parking bans could be a nuisance for some, there's actually a good reason for them. Doug Banks takes us to Waterville for more.
On any given day, vehicles line city streets for various reasons. But when a snowstorm is looming, officials are looking for the total opposite.
These trucks are big, and our streets are narrow, and the guys need as much room as we can get to clear the street to make them safe.
Skane says there are a number of reasons why they need cars off streets during these times. For one, he says it takes several hours after a storm to clear roadways, sidewalks, and push back snowbankings, all of which provide safety to residents and business owners who frequent the area. Second, cars left on banned streets could make them impassable for first responders.
It's kind of twofold. We need to make sure that the vehicles are removed so Public Works can remove snow from the roadway. In addition to that, for emergency vehicles to be able to get in and out of some of the tighter streets that we have.
A few years back, Waterville's main and front streets were changed from one-ways to two-ways, which Skane says has made the travel lanes more narrow.
And it's very busy, it's very popular, which is all the more reason for the parking bans and the overnight cleanup of the snow.
Waterville residents can park at the Head of Falls parking lot, and Longley says residents should stay up to date through the city's website.
The blanket parking ban is obviously starts December 1st, so no vehicles can be parked street side from midnight to 6 a.m. In addition to that, when there's specific snow removal occurring, specifically in the concourse, in our downtown area, they post ahead of time when there's going to be snow removal.
In Waterville, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Ellsworth Public Works has announced a parking ban starting tonight at midnight, lasting until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Take a look at the map on your screen. During a winter parking ban for snow removal, vehicles cannot be parked on public streets, ways, or city-owned parking areas. with the exception of the center spots located in the lower City Hall parking lot. Vehicles not moved during snow removal operations may be subject to relocation by tow to a tow yard at the discretion of the Ellsworth Police Department. So that looks like that little parking area for all of downtown.
Bottom line, learn about your own local parking bans in your area and pay attention to them, because nothing worse than showing up the next morning and your car's gone.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
That's not good.
All right, the time now is 6:10. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, USPS is busier than ever this time of year, but if you haven't mailed your gifts yet, don't despair. Believe it or not, there's still time.
Thank goodness for that. We'll hear about the deadline to ship coming up, but first another check of that forecast. A messy day ahead today. We can expect rain and freezing rain along with the snow in some areas. Lows dropping down to the mid-30s. Tonight, a wintry mix with rain and rising temperatures. Lows dropping down to around 31. Tomorrow, rain is likely. A very windy day, could cause a lot of problems with highs around 57. We'll be right back.
This week, Elton John, exclusive. From his incredible career to his battles with addiction to how he's doing now.
I'm still standing after all this time.
I'm still standing, and I am better than I ever did.
Only on
Good Morning America.
Wow.
Goose River Farm and Meat Store is conveniently located on Route 3 across from Hammond Lumber in Belfast. They have a wide selection of meat and poultry, including beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, rabbit, and turkey. Open Tuesday through Saturday.
A family-owned and operated business since 1953, Hammond Lumber Company recognizes the value of their team members and the importance of employee satisfaction. Hammond is honored to have been named one of the best places to work in Maine for the 4th consecutive year, and Hammond was once again selected as one of the best places to work in New Hampshire by Business New Hampshire magazine. Hammond is always looking for great people to join their team. To find your place on the Hammond team, click on the careers link at hammondlumber.com.
I'm Jim with Lowry & Associates. One of our clients was a man whose family contacted me after he was badly injured in a hit and run. As a former prosecutor, I was able to work with the police and the DA's office to identify the driver and prove that he was drunk when the accident happened. It was that work that allowed us to get him a $500,000 settlement. If you've been hurt by a drunk driver, call me. I'm your go-to guy.
Hurt by a drunk driver? Call the twos.
Wreaths Across America made a stop at the State House on Monday. As part of an annual tradition, Wreaths Across America held a ceremony at all 50 state capitals, as well as U.S. territories like Puerto Rico and Guam. Those stops took place at exactly noon local time. The events include a prayer and speeches before a wreath-laying ceremony. Wreaths Across America's motto is Remember, Honor, Teach, which organizers say is important now more than ever.
Wreaths Across America is a program honoring all that have at one time served, and we're trying to remember, and we're also trying to teach today's youth about what service means to country. And Wreaths Across America is part of that, to honor those who have served and in some cases made the ultimate sacrifice.
Wreaths Across America started their yearly escort of wreaths this past Sunday in Harrington and will continue to make its journey down Route 1 before reaching Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia to honor fallen service members with a wreath-laying ceremony.
Well, students at All Saints Catholic School in Bangor are making a difference this holiday season. Yesterday, they continued their tradition of service by hosting the school's annual baby shower for the Blessed Virgin Mary. As part of the Mass, students brought in diapers, wipes, and other baby items, and they were all displayed in front of the statue of Mary before being donated to the Shepherd's Godparent Home.
Just that thinking outside of yourself is such a big part of what we do at the school, and so this is just one of those things we've done.
It's really anything you feel that young kids or mothers should have and that they need, and it's really special to us because we get to help out people who need it.
Well, Shepherd's Godparent Home is a free residential shelter for young women who are pregnant and in crisis, including homeless women. The 8th grade students from All Saints helped deliver those donations as well.
The holiday season is here, and if you haven't mailed out your Christmas presents yet, don't despair. The United States Postal Service says they're better prepared than ever for the holiday shipping rush because of their Delivering for America plan to help streamline their shipping process. Stephen Doherty, a corporate communications specialist for USPS, says don't wait too long, though.
The general rule is the earlier the better, but we recommend if you're sending something first class mail, cards and things of that nature, to try and get them in the mail by the 18th to get them home in time for the holidays. If you're sending priority mail packages, by the 19th, and for priority mail express by the 21st.
Doherty says if you're sending packages, make sure they're securely taped up and any loose or fragile items are secured properly. I was coming back to Bangor from Bar Harbor on Friday night around 9:30, and I was following a UPS truck home. So they've been out late making sure everybody gets their packages.
Yeah, between them, the FedEx guys, and everybody else, you know.
Overtime hours.
The crazy busy time for them.
Yeah, I'm thankful for them.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 6:16. After the break, we'll sit down with a family and first responders since their yellow lab was rescued after falling through the ice.
We'll have that in your full weather forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Rennie's, a Maine adventure.
Rennie's has everything you need this Christmas season. We're gonna wrap it up. We've got gift boxes, lots of those. Great selection of Christmas cards. We've got plenty of bags. We've got Christmas lights.
Cut.
Great selection of wrapping paper, bows, ribbon. We've got lights. You wanted to get those, don't you, John?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do. We got plenty of bags, you name it, candles. Get to Rennie's.
Oh no! Son of a nutcracker. This is what I get for eating all those cookies. Hey, Rotor-Rooter, I got a big clog for you. I'm stuck in the chimney. Again. Yep, I'm the clog. Any chance you could fa-la-la over here?
For all your holiday plumbing needs, Rotor-Rooter can save the day.
And away go troubles down the drain. Rotor-Rooter.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Welcome back, everyone. On Sunday morning, emergency crews rescued a dog that had fallen through the ice in Clinton.
Our Grace Blanchard spoke with the dog's owners and the first responders who went into the frigid waters to save his life.
I saw how far out in the river he was and hollered to Neil and said, you need to call for help. We need the fire department here to get him out.
On Sunday morning, crews from Clinton, Fairfield, Benton, and Skowhegan responded to reports of a lab who had fallen into the Kennebec River along the River Road in Clinton. According to his owners, Duncan was trying to find their other dog, Zoe, who had bolted out the door and is still missing.
He had been in for a while and he was getting weak and tired. And they showed up just in time.
So we had to break through the ice to go retrieve the dog. Once we got to the dog, we got him. I had the crews that were on shore. I was tethered off, and the crews pulled me back to the shore.
Members of the Clinton Fire Department say the thin ice and water temperatures created dangerous conditions for both Duncan and his rescuers.
You know, it was relieving, and I grabbed onto Michelle. I said, they got him, Greg's got him, he's gonna be okay. You know, it was that moment that we knew that there was hope.
They say incidents like this are rare, but show why proper gear and training is vital.
As hypothermia progresses and gets worse, you have to start implementing more aggressive measures to try to warm somebody, or in this case, a dog, and they did phenomenal.
The family is still searching for their other dog, Zoe, but are grateful that Duncan is alive and safe.
I'm glad all of the firefighters that showed up, everybody was amazing and did an incredible job. Incredible job.
In Clinton, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, I hope Zoe is found very
Yeah.
soon.
Hopefully people keep their eyes open for Zoe out there.
Yeah.
So nice of the firefighters, though. Some fire departments they don't always do that when it's an animal because they don't want to put people's lives in jeopardy or anything like that. But a good training operation for them, and in the end, they ended up saving a family's dog.
Yeah.
We love animals here, as you know. So.
All right.
That's great.
That makes me happy. Okay, the time now 6:20.
Let's get a full look at that messy weather forecast.
All righty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. We have winter weather advisories posted at least until 1 p.m. this afternoon, as we're watching for a little bit of slippery conditions that we'll keep an eye on. High wind watch is also up until 7 a.m. Thursday. Some very strong gusty winds will be on the way, and that right there is a storm watch posted. Some high surf will be expected very soon. Wave heights already a little active out there this morning at around 8 to 10 feet, but it's only going to get worse with our next system that will be moving in. Now, we have had some snowfall ranging from around 2 to 5 inches across our neck of the woods, so nothing too extreme. So it's been a little bit slippery out there, but temperatures, especially later on tonight and the parts of tomorrow, will begin to rise. So here's that snow that's been passing through. It gave us around 2 to 5 inches overall, so a little bit slippery outside this morning. We do have a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow today, but otherwise a cloudy sky will be the common idea. We have a push of moisture from the south that's going to be tracking to the north and east, and that will give us a lot of rainfall on the way, especially as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So otherwise, we have a good snow base at the moment at around 5 to 7 inches from Caribou to parts of Bangor, and some higher numbers in between. Unfortunately, we might be losing most, if not all, of this coming up with warmer temperatures tomorrow and a lot of rainfall. So unfortunately, a lot of this, if not all of it, will be going away. Futurecast moving forward, a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow today. We'll keep that chance going tonight, although it will increase overnight too, especially as we head towards Wednesday morning. As temperatures warm, we'll switch over to all rain with gusty winds on the way too. Be ready for that. And the rain again continuing Wednesday night to parts of Thursday morning as it passes through. By Thursday, we'll start to push this thing out of here. Now, a little bit of ice possible, so we will have to keep an eye on this. So especially with temperatures getting a little bit closer to freezing. So again, might get slippery for a bit, but again, nothing too extreme that will be on the way. What we will have to watch out for is the gusty winds. Not so much today or tonight, but once we head towards tomorrow, some gusty winds could reach up to about 40 miles per hour at times, so we will need to be careful with that. So for today, here's what we got. A small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Highs in the mid-30s, and that northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, a wintry mix will be switching over to rain, especially late. Early lows in the low 30s and rising temperatures overnight with a light and variable wind. For tomorrow, upper 50s. That will melt a lot of snow, if not all of it. Rain likely. It will also be windy, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. All righty, let's check out your extended forecast with a partly cloudy sky for your Thursday with highs early in the lower 40s and then falling. Mostly sunny Friday with highs in the low 30s, and mostly sunny again for your Saturday with highs also in the low 30s.
Tired of waiting for the power company to restore your power? Call Ideal Energy Solutions. Let Ideal Energy Solutions install a Generac automatic standby generator and bring the power back instantly. Don't settle for less than ideal. Go with Ideal Energy Solutions. Call today.
After getting into a car accident, my husband and I were unsure of how to deal with the other insurance company.
We made the decision to reach out to the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
One phone call got the ball rolling.
It was a free evaluation, but it was a big relief.
They were easy to work with, and it was clear right away that they cared about our situation.
Knowing that we had Joe's team working for us
and fighting for us
meant that I could focus on healing.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
The end of year blowout sale starts now at the Furniture Gallery. Save 10% on all categories store-wide. That's on top of our everyday low prices. At the Furniture Gallery, find your favorite top brands like Ashley, Serta, and Scott Living, all at 10% off right now. And save up to 70% on in-stock clearance items. Once they're gone, they're gone. Warm up your home, cool down your wallet, and don't miss the Furniture Gallery's end of year blowout sale. Support our main family-owned business and save money at the Furniture Gallery.
Merry Christmas from all of us at McCusick Petroleum, 32 Summer Street, Dover, Foxcroft. Season greetings and happy holidays from Carpet One Bangor. Happy holidays from all of us at Moosehead Motorsports, Greenville Junction. Thank you for your business.
If you're looking to make the switch to heat pumps for your home or office, call Ideal Energy Solutions. Ideal Energy Solutions is ready to help you save energy with a new heat pump today. Don't settle for less than Ideal. Go with Ideal Energy Solutions. Call today.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
After nearly a week-long manhunt, this morning, a suspect is in custody, charged with killing the CEO of United Healthcare. Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with details on what led up to the arrest.
This morning, 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is in custody for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Police saying the man was arrested at this McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania after nearly a week-long search. The break came when an employee recognized Mangione from the surveillance images and called police.
When officers arrived, they made contact with the male who had a face mask on. That male was asked to remove his face mask, and officers immediately recognized him as a suspect in the New York City shooting.
Police discovered Mangione had a passport and several fake IDs, including a fake New Jersey ID, the same one allegedly used to check into a hostel in New York. Police say he also had a 3D printed silencer and a 3D printed ghost gun, which is untraceable with no serial numbers, as well as a 3-page document which sources say mentioned United Healthcare by name and included the quotes, "These parasites had it coming, and I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done."
I understand people have real frustration with our healthcare system. This killer was not a hero. He should not be hailed.
Mangione was valedictorian at an all-boys prep school in Baltimore. He went on to earn a master's in engineering at the University of Pennsylvania. Overnight, New York prosecutors charged Mangione with second-degree murder in the death of Brian Thompson. He's also charged with possession of a loaded firearm, possession of a forged instrument, and criminal possession of a weapon. Mangione's family responded to the charges, saying they are shocked and devastated by the arrest, and they're praying for Brian Thompson's family. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Well, now to a former Marine acquitted in the chokehold death of a homeless man on the New York subway. This verdict is being seen through a lens that extends far beyond New York City. ABC's Rhiannon Alley with that story.
New fallout after Marine veteran Daniel Penny was cleared of all criminal charges.
He was trying to help people on that train, and he did.
After 5 days of deliberations, a jury finding the 26-year-old not guilty of criminally negligent homicide in the death of Jordan Neely last year. Neely, homeless with a history of mental illness, entered a New York subway and began acting erratically. The defense argued he was threatening passengers. Penny placed Neely in a chokehold for roughly 6 minutes, even after Neely had stopped moving.
He's finally got the justice he's deserved.
Penny yesterday celebrated the legal victory in a bar with his lawyers, while the Neely family mourned outside court.
I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this.
Neely's father was removed from court after erupting in anger once the verdict was read.
It hurt me to my core.
Speaking to ABC News, he called the judicial system rigged. Public opinion on the case has been split, some labeling Penny a hero for protecting passengers from a dangerous man making threats. Others arguing Penny held that chokehold far longer than necessary. Some legal experts say the verdict likely reflects more than just the facts of the case, saying it shows frustration with society's failure to address homelessness and mental illness.
When the average ordinary citizen is placed on the line and having to confront these two larger-than-life societal issues, many people are willing to give that person a pass because they themselves find themselves dealing with it.
Neely's father says he'll now seek justice through a civil lawsuit against Penny. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
5 decades of a totalitarian regime toppled in less than 2 weeks. Bashar al-Assad and his family fled to Russia as rebels celebrated victory. The U.S. is monitoring the situation, but President-elect Donald Trump says America should stay out of it. Thousands of people stormed prisons, desperately searching for locked-up loved ones, even using canines and combing through paperwork to track them down. The The 13 years of civil war have displaced 12 million Syrians, half of the country's pre-war population. Now, many of them are coming home. To prevent a power grab, the U.S. Air Force struck dozens of ISIS targets in Syria, and the Israeli military says it struck suspected chemical weapon sites and long-range rockets. The rebels are made up of a coalition of groups. The strongest is HTS, which the U.S. designates as a terror group. The leader of HTS, Abu Muhammad al-Golani, has spent years renouncing ties to al-Qaeda and trying to rewrite his public image. The rebel alliance has, so far, promised religious tolerance, a representative government, and said it would not give orders to women on how to dress.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump continues to fill out his administration as some of his more controversial cabinet nominees continue meetings to secure confirmation votes. Yesterday, FBI Director nominee Kash Patel and had his first Senate meeting, as well as Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. She's facing criticism from some of her former Democratic colleagues for a 2017 meeting with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. Trump also named several high-level positions that do not require Senate approval, including appointing his former personal lawyer, Alina Habba, as counselor to the president. She worked on his campaign as well.
Yeah. All right, coming up on the second half of the newscast, do you have a favorite snack brand? Well, maybe make room for another after you see the production process for one of Maine's locally manufactured snacks.
We'll have that story and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Maine's largest network of parts has holiday deals for everyone. Whether you know what you want or just need a little help, Coastal Auto Parts has everything you need to find the perfect gift. From Black Friday through December 16th, save on deals for the entire family. Purchase an M18 battery 2-pack and get one of 4 Milwaukee items for free. And keep warm and in style with Milwaukee's heated gear for any occasion. Don't forget to team up with a Maine family that cares and keep Maine vets warm when you purchase a Maine Veterans Project logo at any of their 30 locations.
Looking for winter services? There is still time to sign up. The pros at Atlantic Lawn Care and Landscape specialize in snow removal and ice management for commercial and residential properties. They will take care of the snow plowing, snow blowing, shoveling, salting, and sanding. Atlantic now has 2 locations and is accepting new clients in Brewer, Bangor, Vesey, and in town Orono, Brunswick, Topsail, Bath, and surrounding areas. Call for your free estimate or visit our website for customizable services. Local, reliable, and fully insured. Atlantic Lawn Care and Landscape.
We've got a 100-year-old company here, and it's because of the service, the quality, and the experience. It gets done right.
I think we've been doing it for so long. The only thing that we do, that when we walk into a room, we automatically know how to treat that window. We can take any product that the customer's looking for and make it work in just about any situation that they present us with. So
there's no reason to be overwhelmed.
No.
We can help you through it.
We're not going anywhere. We've been around for 100 years.
Get the power of 2 companies to get your power back in no time. That's what you get with Valley Home Heating and Valley Home Services when they install your new Generac standby generator. 2 great companies team up to provide you with one great service experience. Valley Home Services does the electrical work, and Valley Home Heating installs the propane to fuel your Generac generator, all in one visit. Call Valley Home Heating today to set up your consultation and embrace the comfort with Generac and Valley.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. Just 14 days to go until Christmas. Time to wrap up that shopping.
2 weeks to go.
Yeah. It's also National Lager Day.
This holiday celebrates the drink of choice for many people at sporting events, backyard barbecues, and even at some baby showers. There's no question Americans love their beer, and lagers are among the most popular. Many people prefer a lager because it's a lighter beer and helps prevent that bloated feeling. According to a recent study, people even also believe a woman drinking lager makes them seem friendly and low maintenance, and a man with a cold brew comes off as authentic and genuine. I haven't always gotten that when I've drank a beer.
Yeah.
Intimidating and strange, maybe, but not genuine and authentic.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something about when a woman's drinking a cold beer instead of some fancy little daiquiri thing. It's just like, yeah, she's one of the guys.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're saying there.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
It's one of the things I miss the most after going gluten-free.
Really? Have a good beer?
Yeah. There are gluten-free burger buns,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. I don't really like any of the gluten-free beers I've tried though.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to talk to some of our brewing friends,
I
see
know.
if they can come up with something
I
for
think
you.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
All right, time for history. On this day in history, back in 1898, the signing of the Treaty of Paris brought an end to the Spanish-American War. The once proud empire of Spain was virtually dissolved, and the United States took over much of Spain's overseas holdings, including Puerto Rico. In 1901, the first Nobel Prizes were awarded in Sweden on the 5th anniversary of the death of Alfred Nobel. The Swedish inventor of dynamite left his fortune to create the prizes to honor those who have contributed the greatest benefits to mankind.
Kind of ironic that he created dynamite.
I know, to
and
blow
it's
everything
the Nobel
up,
Peace
but-
Prize.
Yeah, I know. In 1948, the United Nations General Assembly adopted its Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and in 1958, the first domestic passenger jet flight took place in the U.S. when 111 passengers flew from New York to Miami.
In 1967, soul music legend Otis Redding was among 7 people killed when a private plane crashed in Madison, Wisconsin. His classic hit, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, was released unfinished several weeks later.
Became the first #1 hit posthumously for anybody.
Gotcha.
Too.
I
So,
had forgotten that.
yeah, it was his biggest hit ever.
That's a huge loss. He had
Yeah.
an amazing voice.
He sure did.
In 1996, South African President Nelson Mandela signed into law a new democratic constitution, a move that completed the transition from white minority rule to a non-racial democracy. And in 1998, 6 astronauts opened the doors to the new International Space Station as it orbited 250 miles above the Earth's surface. It's the largest single structure humans have ever put into space.
All right, for birthdays, they include actor and director Kenneth Branagh, who turned 64 years old today. Celebrity chef Bobby Flay is 60. And rocker David Lee Roth from Van Halen turned 70 years old today.
Great
and
photo.
is still crazy as ever.
Yeah, great photo.
Yeah.
Really encapsulates his vibe.
I was a big Van Halen fan back in the day.
They're
Back in high
awesome.
school, I
Yeah.
went and saw them, and I remember 1984 when they had their big hits. And the album 1984. That was the year I graduated from high school, and I got to see them that year in San Antonio performing.
I bet it cost like $20.
It was $12.50
Yeah,
for
oh
my
my
ticket.
gosh, I'm so jealous.
And we had to camp out on the roof of the North Star Mall in order to get it the next day, because you had to line up and get them before they sold
Right.
out. But yeah, $12.50. That's what concerts were back then.
And now, in the days of Live Nation and Ticketmaster, that would be like
Hundreds
$300.
of dollars. Yeah,
right?
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Ugh.
Yeah, but they're putting on big elaborate shows now, and
It's not just
dancers,
that.
and I don't
nope,
know.
nope. It's not just that.
Maybe a little greed involved.
I have things to say,
Yeah,
and I'm
well-
not going to say them.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
We
get
got to
it.
move on because this gets me spicy.
Okay, that's crazy. Hey, the weather, this is something you really need to take
Yeah.
seriously. We kind of like to joke around here on the morning show, but this is serious stuff. Very slippery out there this morning, so you want to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
One of the big concerns, though, happens later on today into tomorrow when the temperatures start warming up. We're going to get a bunch of rain.
Yep.
All this snow is going to start to melt, and that could create some flooding and some power outages there out there as well.
Yeah, it looks like pretty serious windy conditions.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. We have a lot of advisories posted ahead of our next system that will be moving in. We have winter weather advisories that will last until about 1 p.m. this afternoon. We also have high wind watches up until 7 a.m. Thursday. Strong gusty winds will be on the way. And that right there is a storm watch that is posted along the coast. We've had some snow passing through. It gave us around 2 to 5 inches overall. We're going to catch a little bit of a break, although we might still get a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow today. That chance rather small nonetheless, but more active weather will be on the way coming from the south and west very soon and tracking to the north and east with a lot of rainfall that will be on the way very soon. But for today, just a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. More rain will be on the way later on tonight, but really getting going as we head towards your Wednesday. Now, gusty winds, not a big deal today or tonight. It's by tomorrow where the winds will begin to pick up just a little bit more. So for today, we have mid-30s, a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, and the northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have low 30s. A wintry mix will be switching over to rain, especially late. Rising temperatures overnight, so this low will be hit early, temperatures warming overnight, and a light and variable wind. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing temperatures making it into the lower 30s. Again, a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, I've been looking forward to this one since last week. A potato chip company in Mapleton is proving it has a knack for flavor. Fox Family Chips has been in business for over 20 years, but needed to expand its operation in the last few years just to keep up with the demand.
Our Jody Hersey stopped by to see how they make their product from scratch.
From an outsider looking in, Fox Family Chips in Mapleton looks like a mega chip plant. But this Maine-made company actually came from humble beginnings when Rhett Fox, one of the owners, says he began selling his homemade chips at this convenience store across from the plant.
I had potatoes and a meat slicer.
So you decided?
Yeah, make them. Somebody walked through the door of the store and I said, here, try these. And they liked them and it's just kind of gone from there.
Now, Fox gets potatoes by the truckload from a farm in Blaine. Fox Family Chips then brings those potatoes up to room temperature before they go through the machines that will wash, peel, and slice them to perfection. Next, the chips head to the fryer and are seasoned before being individually bagged and packaged for retail.
What I get the most joy out of is watching people eat my chips for the first time. Expressions on their faces just makes it all worth it.
According to Fox, he says a good day at work means that his company produces 300 cases of chips a day.
We hadn't been able to keep up for 2 or 3 years in the summer. Like, we wouldn't catch up to about this time of year, from summertime. And this summer we've stayed caught up most of the summer.
The new plant makes filling orders more efficient, but with just 4 employees in the company, it still takes all hands on deck to keep up with demand. Tracy Wright is the company's office manager who leaves her desk to help fill internet orders.
Everyone likes to come to vacation in Maine and then they discover our chips and then they want it at their own hometowns. I love getting out the orders, seeing where they're going all over the countryside, so it's pretty cool.
No matter how you slice it, Fox Family Chips has been feeding people's snack cravings for over 20 years, and the employees say they hope to continue that trend into the future. In Mapleton, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
So I'm biased because these are my favorite chips ever.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't want to convince anybody. This is my journalistic integrity. But also these are my favorite chips ever and I love them and I urge people to try them.
Strong feelings.
Great stocking stuffer. As top of the stocking, they have little mini bags. Just amazing.
I tried them for the first time last week. They are very delicious. I was a little jealous of Jody too. She says they got to get them right out of the fryer, so where they were still hot, warm. And they gave her a shaker full of seasoning, so she put her own seasoning on. That's the way to do it.
If you're a barbecue or salt and vinegar connoisseur, these are the ones.
Good stuff.
Yeah, love it. All right, right after the break, Jack Webb will have our sports updates.
Don't go away.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Oh no! Son of a nutcracker. This is what I get for eating all those cookies. Hey, Roto-Rooter, I got a big clog for you. I'm stuck in the chimney. Again. Yep, I'm the clog. Any chance you could fa la la over here?
For all your holiday plumbing needs, Roto-Rooter can save the day.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Did he lose his shirt? I've never seen anybody lose their shirt.
Do you think they made him pay triple?
I guess our tactics didn't work today. Who's the law firm?
The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
If you've been injured in an accident, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein. Maine lawyers working for Maine people.
Tell the insurance company you mean business.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start with some historic news that broke Sunday evening. The Juan Soto free agency saga is officially over, and he signed the richest contract in MLB history, but unfortunately not with the Red Sox. Soto will move across town as he just inked a 15-year, $765 million deal with no deferred money and incentives that could potentially bring it over the $800 million mark. Soto had the opportunity to stay with the Yankees as they reportedly offered $760 million over 16 years, but decided to take the extra $5 million and head to Citi Field to be a Met. He's scheduled to make his return to Yankee Stadium on May 16th. As for the Red Sox, their offer was close. They reportedly offered Soto $700 million over 15 years. So a significant offer, but still $65 million short of the Mets and their owner, Steve Cohen. That is a lot of hot dogs. Bringing it back locally to the University of Maine men's hockey team picked up 2 wins at the Alphon over Stonehill College this past weekend. The Black Bears took down the Skyhawks on Saturday by a score of 5-2, then 4-2 on Sunday. They have stayed put there at number 5 in this week's USCHO national poll, but they received 2 first-place votes. The last time they received votes was just last year, but it's a sign of things trending in the right direction for the Black Bears, who have won 6 of their last 7 games. Here's Maine head coach Ben Barr on his team's hot start to the year.
Assessment is we're still a team that's growing our culture, and I think the last few weekends have been a step in the right direction. Of becoming the team that we want to be, as far as playing the same way all the time. Now we're going to deal with an injury to one of our better players. So how do we another opportunity for our culture to grow, and I think that's the journey we've been on the first half, and it's not going to be any different the second half.
The Black Bears got a little over a week off, but they'll be back before you know it. We'll head over to Bangor now, where the Bangor boys basketball team started the year off with a big win on Friday night. The Rams topped one of the best programs in the state in the Portland Bulldogs by a score of 65-60 to start the year 1-0. That's a big-time win for Bangor, who struggled in recent years. The Rams have a combined 3 wins over the previous 2 seasons, so this win was huge for their team's morale moving forward.
Last year and the year before that, having a tough season, really is a big confidence booster. Just setting off the season right. We were working hard all summer, coming in 7 a.m., running, playing basketball. That's what we love to do, and we're looking forward to the rest of the season.
It means a lot. To start off strong has been something that we've really probably lacked these last couple of years, and to have that momentum going into the year is really important.
Part of the spark is thanks to new Bangor head coach Aaron Pickney. He says his team is prideful and wants to prove they're better than what they've been in the past. Pickney says although Friday's win was nice, he's focused on setting the program's culture for years to come.
Right now in the program, we're just trying to build a culture. We're trying to be consistent in what we do, playing defense, rebounding, and just staying even keel.
They'll host Oxford Hills at 6:30 on Tuesday night. We'll stay in Bangor's John Babson Old Town, faced off in a doubleheader at the Cross Insurance Center. We'll start with the girls, and it was delivered as both teams looking to start the year strong. We pick it up in the first quarter, where Taylor Madden drives to the paint and gets one to fall to make it 7-5 Old Town. Shortly after, Claire Gaetani steals the ball and takes it coast to coast for the layup to tie this one up at 7. Second quarter now, Taylor Loring drives to the basket, gets the shot to fall through the contact for the bucket and the foul. Later in the quarter, Morgan Wilson finds Stella Gotts, who cashes in the corner 3, and Babst outlasts Old Town by a final score of 39-35. To the boys now, they took the court following the girls' game for a cross-class battle. We pick it up in the second quarter as Emmett Byther squares up the defender, takes a dribble, pulls up, and knocks down the mid-range J to cut the Crusaders' lead to 2. Shortly after, it's Isaac Robichaud who knocks down the transition three with just no hesitation at all. He knew what he was doing with that one. He brings their lead back to 5. Later on, great ball movement by Baps, who finds no one other than Robichaud for the 3. He was on fire from beyond the arc. Time winding down in the half now. Beither's shot does not fall, but Tyler Priest puts it back as time expires. Old Town would take a 1-point lead in the half, but John Baps would pull away, winning 63-52. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
This is your reminder to thank the friend who gets McDonald's breakfast for the group while everyone else sleeps in.
Don't sleep on a classic breakfast. Get a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Nothing feels as good as driving a new Hyundai. And now you can get a great deal on your favorite model at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, every Hyundai is backed by America's best warranty. Hurry to the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event before this offer ends. Make your next getaway your best one yet. Lease an all-wheel drive Santa Fe SE for $269 a month or get 0% APR plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry in.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Get any size iced coffee in any flavor for just $1.29 during breakfast hours.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Heard from the Bangor School Department, they're going to delay their opening today. Brewer and Hamden kids get to stay home. A snow day for them.
Oh, lucky.
So, yeah.
Oh, all right, enjoy that snow day. Here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with our full weather forecast.
All righty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. We have winter weather advisories posted at least until 1 p.m. this afternoon as we're watching for a little bit of slippery conditions that we'll keep an eye on. High wind watch is also up until 7 a.m. Thursday. Some very strong gusty winds will be on the way, and that right there is a storm watch posted. Some high surf will be expected very soon. Wave heights already a little active out there this morning at around 8 to 10 feet, but it's only going to get worse with our next system that will be moving in. Now, we have had some snowfall ranging from around 2 to 5 inches across our neck of the woods, so nothing too extreme. So it's been a little bit slippery out there, but temperatures, especially later on tonight and the parts of tomorrow, will begin to rise. So here's that snow that's been passing through. It gave us around 2 to 5 inches overall, so a little bit slippery outside this morning. We do have a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow today, but otherwise a cloudy sky will be the common idea. We have a push of moisture from the south that's going to be tracking to the north and east, and that will give us a lot of rainfall on the way, especially as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So otherwise, we have a good snow base at the moment at around 5 to 7 inches from Caribou to parts of Bangor and some higher numbers in between. Unfortunately, we might be losing most, if not all of this coming up with warmer temperatures tomorrow and a lot of rainfall. So unfortunately, a lot of this, if not all of it, will be going away. Futurecast moving forward, a small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow today. We'll keep that chance going tonight, although it will increase overnight too, especially as we head towards Wednesday morning. As temperatures warm, we'll switch over to all rain with gusty winds on the way too. Be ready for that. And the rain again continuing Wednesday night to parts of Thursday morning as it passes through. By Thursday, we'll start to push this thing out of here. Now, a little bit of ice possible, so we will have to keep an eye on this. So especially with temperatures getting a little bit closer to freezing. So again, might get slippery for a bit, but again, nothing too extreme that will be on the way. What we will have to watch out for is the gusty winds. Not so much today or tonight, but once we head towards tomorrow, some gusty winds could reach up to about 40 miles per hour at times, so we will need to be careful with that. So for today, here's what we got. A small chance of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Highs in the mid-30s and that northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, a wintry mix will be switching over to rain, especially late. Early lows in the low 30s and rising temperatures overnight with a light and variable wind. For tomorrow, upper 50 50s. That will melt a lot of snow, if not all of it. Rain likely. It will also be windy, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. All righty, let's check out your extended forecast with a partly cloudy sky for your Thursday with highs early in the lower 40s and then falling. Mostly sunny Friday with highs in the low 30s, and mostly sunny again for your Saturday with highs also in the low 30s.
Does your dream kitchen look like this? Or this? Or maybe you need a little more inspiration. Get it when you explore the complete in-store showroom displays at Hammond Lumber Company. When you find the look you like, the Hammond team will help you customize it, including accurate 3D renderings, so you can visualize your project before the work begins. Hammond offers delivery from any of the locations across Maine and New Hampshire and professional service after the sale. Your dream kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Rennie's, a Maine adventure.
Rennie's has everything you need this Christmas season. We're going to wrap it up. We've got gift boxes, lots of those. Great selection of Christmas cards. We've got plenty of bags. We've got Christmas lights.
Cut.
Great selection of wrapping paper, bows, ribbon. We've got lights. You wanted to get those, don't you, John?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do. We got plenty of bags, you name it, candles. Get to Rennie's.
Merry Christmas from all of us at Coastal Auto Parts, family-owned and operated parts store, featuring a great line of Milwaukee tools and heated gear for Christmas. Make Complete Tire Service, Inc. your next stop for new tires, quality maintenance, and professional automotive services located in Ellsworth. Happy holidays from all of us at Ray Plumbing and Heating. And if you're a technician looking for work, come see us.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7, broadcasting loud and clear on our new tower. 50,000 watts of smooth rock and roll with Paul and Sonny in the morning and Mike Dow in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
Sorry, who are you?
I'm Special Agent Will Trent, GVI.
Well, that was easy.
Shouldn't we strategize?
Strategize? Come on, we're gonna improvise.
No.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's the holidays, and we all know how stressful it can be, and many of us will want to soothe ourselves with some snacks.
But new research shows a cup of cocoa could be more helpful. Analysts in Britain found that drinking cocoa could reduce the negative effects of fatty foods we consume during stressful moments. The team gave volunteers a savory breakfast consisting of buttered croissants, cheese, and milk, and then gave them a cocoa drink, followed by an 8-minute mental math test with the intent to stress participants. After the exam, they found cocoa notably preventing increased levels of vascular function in the body. Researchers say not all cocoa is the same and that it's better to look for minimally processed cocoa powder to get similar results.
There you go. It is very comforting, isn't it?
I think that's fantastic news. If sugar and chocolate can fix me, I'm going to blindly take that advice and run.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with that diet myself already, so I don't have any stress at all.
I don't have any stress at all. Can
I'm
you believe me by
stress-free.
this tone of voice? All right, looks like we're running out of time. If you missed anything, head to foxbangor.com. We'll start a renewed hour next on Fox 22.
Drive safe, everyone. Have a good day.
Maine's largest network of parts has holiday deals for everyone. Whether you know what you want or just need a little help, Coastal Auto Parts has everything you need to find the perfect gift. From Black Friday through December 16th, save on deals for the entire family. Purchase an M18 battery 2-pack and get one of 4 Milwaukee items for free. And keep warm and in style with Milwaukee's heated gear for any occasion. Don't forget to team up with a Maine family that cares and keep Maine vets warm when you purchase a Maine Veterans Project logo at any of their 30 locations.
Oh no! Son of a nutcracker. This is what I get for eating all those cookies. Hey, Roto-Rooter, I got a big clog for you. I'm stuck in the chimney. Again. Yep, I'm the clog. Any chance you could fa-la-la over here?
For all your holiday plumbing needs, Roto-Rooter can save the day.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Rome wasn't built in a day,
But the Garcia's windows and patio doors were, so were the Jacksons and the Smiths. Yours could be next. Call Renewal by Anderson for fast, easy, and precise window replacement. Big savings, too. For a limited time, get these huge savings and special financing. Take the first step. Contact us for the best home improvement experience you'll ever have. Call now for a free consultation or visit us online. Renewal by Anderson.
Orno Arcade has expanded, and we have dozens of new games to play. We have prize machines, including an entire section dedicated to your favorite modern games. We have games from the 80s and games from the 90s. Plus, we have the largest selection of indie arcade games in the country, along with 9-hole blacklight mini golf. We also have a brand new birthday party room. Hey, we have it all. Come on up to Orno and experience one of the most unique family entertainment centers in Maine.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good. From the Great Northwoods to the Rock Post and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Good morning, Maine. A man suspected of murdering a man in Bangor makes his first court appearance.
Plus, we'll hear about a special program that's helping Maine deal with a shortage of teachers.
And we'll take you to Mapleton to see how Fox family potato chips are made. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. But of course, the big story of the day is the weather. The latest snowstorm has created very slippery driving conditions around the state. It's expected to be just a couple of inches here in the Bangor area, but it's more than enough to challenge local drivers. Southern and western areas of the state, including the big ski areas like Sugarloaf, are expecting to receive even higher snow totals. They welcome the snow, but it can be a problem for everyone else trying to make it to work or school.